we were down in DC advocating for our programs like we do every year, in addition to many other things that we've been working on. So with that, can I answer any questions about the report?
Randy, could I get, about 10 copies of it?
No, every year I forget to bring extra. I think I actually have some in my car, so I'll bring them back.
Okay, you can set them on my desk if you want to. This is the kind of thing I share with townships.
Yeah,
And so when I go to the next time meeting, I would.
I appreciate that. I think I actually have 10 in my car, so I'll run and get it when it's an appropriate time to do that and bring it back for you. So thank you for doing that.
Just a quick statement.
Yeah.
See, amount of allocating that is done by your organization. This is done. Seems like every time we have a board meeting, there's a picture of actually recently with the governor, with the representatives,
Yeah,
trips to Washington. So we're really working hard to secure money.
Yeah.
For the
And
kids and the senior
I
citizens.
appreciate that. I do have to say for clarification, what we do is not lobbying. We do advocacy and
Cool.
education. We can't use federal funding for lobbying, but we provide a lot of education. And make sure that they understand the impact of our program. But it's very important for us. And part of our strategic plan for this coming up few years is providing that education, so.
Well, and I would comment, Fran, inclusive of you, there's some really outstanding leadership
Thank you.
personnel within.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate
that. You and Lisa.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We have a longevity. I think if you take all of the senior leadership and put our tenure together, it's something like 120 years or something like that. So, yeah, we have a lot of leaders that have been around for 30 years. Yeah. Not me though, because I would have had to be 2 when I started.
Last question, how many people do you have working for your organization?
Yeah, that changes, but I think the last time I looked, we were at like 660 staff, but we also have about 72 openings.
Yeah.
So if we were fully rostered, it'd be definitely over 700. but-
Do you have some volunteer?
Do we have volunteers? Yeah, we have to actually, it depends on how you look at that. We actually have formalized volunteer programs that are foster grandparent and senior companion. But then we also have volunteers that work within the Head Start preschool program, so.
Okay, any more questions? Thank you very much, appreciate it. Are we ready for action here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Evans from Acrisure. I'm one of the HR consultants here. So I was asked to go over with you guys the independent contractor audit that we have done. I do not see where I'm able to share the presentation with you.
Let me just check on that for you.
Okay.
Click on the share, I'll do it.
You want to do that today?
well,
And do all of their funding?
I've already handled it. We're gonna be fine. Well, wait for that to take this, I need to. Definitely, and Jen, go through the presentation at the end, please. Want to forget.
Can everybody see my screen or no?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. If it needs to be bigger, just feel free to let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. All right, let me see if I can do that.
Well, it's on our end, it needs to be made bigger, so
Oh, okay.
go ahead.
All right, well, I did just share it in the full screen. So we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so the independent contractor we did for Alcona County analyzed 83 contractors total, including the contract, the scope of work, the responsibilities, the pay, and the terms. The analysis was completed using the U.S. Department of Labor Economic Realities Test, and I do have the link there if you guys need to review that. 94% of the positions were classified correctly per our audit, and for the positions that were classified incorrectly, the economic reality test factors 1 through 6 indicate employee status. So I'm going to review with you guys what the economic reality test factors are. So the economic reality test factors is what the Department of Labor has determined classify an employee as an employee versus a contractor. There are 6 different factors. The Wage and Hour Division just in February determined that there are 2 core factors when determining whether individuals are contractors or employees. So there are 2, and you can see the one here with an asterisk, and we'll get to the next one on the next slide. But these are just a little more heavily weighted than the other factors in determining whether someone is classified as a contractor or can be classified as an employee. So we're going to go through some examples of these in each of the factors of the economic reality test. So the first factor is there an opportunity for profit or loss depending on the managerial skill? So some examples of this would be, does the worker earn a profit and suffer losses based on their own effort or decision making? Can they negotiate pay, and can they accept or decline work? Do they hire their own workers or purchase their own equipment and materials? So really this is one of the factors in determining whether someone is a contractor or an employee. If they're hiring their own workers, that would indicate that they're a contractor. Can they negotiate the pay of their work? And can they accept and decline work at any time? As we know, employees can negotiate generally sometimes at time of hire, but on a daily basis they're not negotiating their pay and they're not accepting or declining work. You're taking it as it comes. Investment by the worker or the employer is the second factor. Is the worker supporting the growth of their own business? Is the worker increasing their client base or their territorial growth? These would indicate more of a contractor status. Do the investments of the worker allow them to operate independently? So the more effort they put into growing their client base or their efficiencies would allow them to operate more independently and grow their business. If they're not doing that, or if their efforts don't support that, that would indicate an employee status. The degree and permanence of the work relationship is factor number 3. Is the nature of the work sporadic, or is it with a fixed end date? Those types of work would generally indicate a contractor status. Is the work continuous in nature? Will it generally always be there? Is the worker taking on multiple different projects for themselves at a time? These things would indicate more of a contractor status. Now, I will say just because it's temporary does not mean that it's automatically a contractor status. Just in the same way that not all employees are permanent or long tenured. Sometimes you can be an employee for just a short stint of time. Temporary employees, seasonal employees, we see this a lot. All right. So I'm going to just point out one more time that the first asterisk that you see in this bullet point is one of the factors that's weighted a bit more heavily according to the government for determining whether someone is a contractor or an employee. We'll go ahead and move on to factors 4 through 6. And you'll see the other asterisk here is the second one that's weighted a little more heavily than the others when determining the factors of an independent contractor versus an employee. And its nature and degree of control of the work that you have. Does the employer control the scheduling and the pay? Does the employer supervise the performance of the work? Does the employer discipline the worker if performance is not meeting expectations? So these are all things, the more control over the nature and degree of the work that the employer has would indicate that it's an employee. If the employer is not controlling the scheduling, so if I'm a contractor, I'm telling you when I'm coming to work for the particular project and how much my fee is, that would indicate more of a contractor relationship. Does the employer supervise the performance of the work? Generally with contractors, there's minimal supervision. Maybe there are expectations of the work to be performed, but the employer is not babysitting those things, does not provide really oversight on a daily basis in the same way that you would for an employee. The extent to which work performed is integral part of the employer's business. So this is factor number 5. And really this is a pretty, what is the word? Pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to go through it anyway. Is the work critical or necessary to the employer's principal business? So for example, you may like the lawn being mowed for your organization, but is that work critical to your business? Your business can probably run if the lawn isn't mowed. So someone coming to mow your lawn might be on contractor status because it might not be an integral part of your business. Skill and initiative is number 6. Does the worker rely on their own specialized skill set to perform the work? Another example would be, does the worker rely on training provided by the employer to perform the work? So this can sometimes be a little tricky, but because employees are and can have very specialized skill sets, and contractors can have very specialized skill sets. But is that skill set going to the furtherance of the employer's business or to the contractor's business? So keep in mind that this is also in conjunction with the other factors that we've already talked about. If the worker relies on a lot of training and a lot of procedures provided by the employer, then that would indicate more of an employee status. If the individual is relying on their own skill set and expertise to perform the work with minimal procedural requirements from the employer, that would indicate more of a contractor status. Any questions on any of the economic reality test factors that we used to analyze the independent contractors with Alcona County before I move on to other recommendations that we have?
Pretty clear. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I do apologize because I'm just screen sharing. I can only see a very small little thumbnail of you guys. So if someone does have a question, just go ahead and shout it out, because if you're raising your hand or something, I won't be able to see you for sure. But if there are no questions, we'll move forward to the other recommendations and considerations. So our recommendations for any of the positions that were classified incorrectly would be next steps: determining the FLSA classification of the position and creating a job description for that position. Then you would provide the individuals on contractor status with an offer of employment and onboard as employees. Then updating the payroll systems accordingly to onboard those employees and make sure that their status and payroll is correct. You're ending the contractor agreement. You're providing them written notice of termination and paying any outstanding invoices. We also recommend maintaining the audit spreadsheet that was provided to Alcona County by Acrisure and the presentation that's on file with Alcona County for future external party audits. So if you have any agency coming in that would need those audit results, you have them available. Have a W-9 on file for all contractors and make sure that the W-9 aligns with the name of the individual in the company who's on contract. Use a standard contract template for independent contractors. Using a template is very helpful so that there's not discrepancies between departments and that there's a standard set procedure for when independent contractors are on contract with Alcona County. We also recommend completing an annual 1099 audit and completing an economic reality test for any new contractors as well. So just because this audit has been done right now, we do recommend an annual audit, and we do recommend you putting any new contractors through that economic reality test to make sure that those are classified correctly as well. Acrisure did provide to Alcona County an independent contractor reclassification letter for your use and reference. We did provide the audit findings and the audit presentation, as I've mentioned. We also did provide a sample independent agreement template for use as well, if that is helpful to you all. So that is an overview of the audit that we conducted for independent contractors and 1099 status. Are there any questions? And I'll stop sharing. Or you know what, I'll keep sharing just in case we need to reference anything, but are there any questions that I can answer for you guys?
Samantha, I do have one question. Stephanie Eller, Alcona County Clerk. I just wanted to clarify with the medical examiners, when we further researched that they actually have, under the medical examiner in the law states that they can have their own contractors. We don't specifically have to have a separate contract on file with us. It's
Yep.
through the
Yes.
law with the medical examiner. So
Yep.
it was determined that those we would continue to 1099.
Correct. Trina and I had clarified that together after we had first presented the results. And with that, those further details that were provided to us by Alcona County, that makes complete sense. So we are in agreement with you guys that you can continue on with the medical examiners as is. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. All great questions. Any other questions that I can address for you all?
Samantha, I just want to clarify for the record, Acrisure is a company that the Board of Commissioners has hired to help us to streamline our HR policies and make sure we're up to date and up to speed. I'm doing this for the sake of the public, Samantha.
Yes,
But
okay.
so this isn't like a government audit or anything like that. This is a voluntary audit that we had performed to help us to make sure we're doing everything properly, or as properly as we can, based on the recommendations. So, does anybody have any more questions for Samantha? Sounds like no. Okay, well, appreciate your time today and helping us through these processes, and probably talking to you again. So.
Well, thank you all so much. We really appreciate it. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to address them.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, next up, developed by Osco. Jennifer.
Hey everyone, Jennifer Riggs, developed by us. But I'm actually here today with a different hat. I am contracted with MCOG, so I'm actually representing them. To help everybody know, counties in the North region understand what lane making is. And whether it's a benefit to your county to form one. As you know, Doug Baum, you probably heard from him, has been working on trying to set up a regional model. We're still working on what that will look like, can look like, should look like. But I really wanted to come and talk to you guys about what land banking tools are, what's available out there, and how it can benefit Alcona County in general. And then answer any questions I can on what the regional model could look like. So I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with land banking. I know Craig knows both things. So tell me to shut up if I'm being too in depth, but, or if you need more details, but I did Genesee County Land Bank for 16 years was my previous job, so I spent a long time in that area of the government. And land banking 1.0 was originally, formed, the law was written to deal with tax foreclosed properties, right? That was the original intent of it. places like Flint and Detroit had a lot of properties going through tax foreclosure. People were leaving the area when GM and Ford and them are leaving, and people will take their homes with them when they go. So there was a lot of blight, there was a lot of, abandonment. And so Dan Kilby was trying to figure out how to handle that as the Genesee County Treasurer. So he worked with the state to form this land banking law that could be the holder, right, the banking of property rather than money, to try to revitalize these properties, figure out what the best use is. He was seeing them go through foreclosure every 7 years, and then some speculator from California would buy it and then realize it's not worth anything, it would sit for another 7 years, and it was just this terrible cycle. So that's why, they reformed the act, brought it down to the foreclose after 2.5 years, formed the Land Bank Act so that there was a government authority that could step in and say, we're gonna deal with properties, we're gonna figure out whether they're contaminated and need to be cleaned up, whether they need to be demolished, whether there's a small vacant lot that could just be sold to the neighbor for $1, right? And get it back into the neighbor's hands because they'll care for it. All that to say, it sounds great for downstate, it makes no sense for up north, right? Which is why land banks didn't happen up here for a really long time, because it wasn't really a tool. It was thought of as something that was gonna be useful for us. But there's kind of been this rethinking about land banking, and the way the act was written was pretty broad and allows for a lot of different things that we're realizing. It's a really good development tool, and a really good economic development tool. And it doesn't have to do anything, have anything to do with tax foreclosed property, right? So it's just a way for, a county, or a city in some cases, or the state to say, we're gonna take this property on that we have a plan for, whether it's housing, whether it's, contamination or demolition, whatever that thing is that you wanna do, right, to help your community, improve itself. You can form a county land bank and say, we're going to do project-based work, and it can be purchasing or taking on properties that have been foreclosed on. Most of us counties up here don't have much that goes through foreclosure, but we do, it tends to sell at auction. So it's not really part of it, but your land bank can step in and say, reach out to this, bank foreclosed property, or this owner who's ready to retire and move on, doesn't want their property anymore, right? And if it's strategically located in a place where it's zoned, you wanna see new homes go in, or you wanna see new commercial go in, whatever that thing is, your land bank can step in and say, we're going to acquire the property. While it's in our inventory, it's tax exempt for a time while we're working on what the next steps will be. They're kind of setting that property up for redevelopment. You can go get, grants with Eagle and EPA if there's cleanup needed. You can work with, say developers coming in, like a nonprofit developer, and they wanna put in some housing, but they're working on a grant with another, say HUD or somebody, whoever the other, MISHTA grantee is, and you don't wanna just see them purchase the property and then nothing happens because the grant falls through. You can work with them to sign agreements that say like, you have first right on this property while you're working on that grant, but if that grant falls apart, we still have control of it. And we can have a plan B, a plan C, so we can see the thing happen that we want to happen with that property. So it's really a control mechanism for you to help your community improve itself. There are other tools in the toolkit. Land banking is not the only one that does this stuff. You guys have a BRA, I believe. So you can do something. BRAs don't own property, but they can do tips on property. Brownfield authorities and land banks are like, I heard somebody say the other day, like, they go together with peanut butter and chocolate. I thought that was the best thing I'd heard in a while. I was like, yes, anytime we're talking about food. So where a land bank can't necessarily do a TIF, right, like the housing TIF that you hear the state talking about, a brownfield can, while the land bank owns the property. Any property that touches land bank inventory is automatically qualifies for a brownfield TIF right out the gate. So if you're wanting to do something like housing, that's a great way to set yourself up to say, okay, now we're gonna do this TIF to build these apartments or single family homes or whatever the plan is for your community. Often you get, situations where John comes to you and says, I don't want this property anymore, and I'm willing to give it to you, sell it to you, whatever the thing is, but it's clouded title. my aunt so-and-so passed away and I don't talk to her kids and I have no way of cleaning this thing up. While you can, in the court of law, go through a quiet title action, it's way longer of a time frame to get that done. Written right into the Land Bank Fast Track Act of 2004 was an expedited quiet title authority. So when you have a land bank, your land bank can go through that court process much faster than the average Joe can and clear that title so that you can get title insurance and move forward with that development. So it's a really good piece of, really good tool in the toolkit for cleaning up clouded title, which often happens. Anyways, all that to be said, I did all these things in Genesee County for a really long time and, I'm a breadth of knowledge, so ask me any questions you have about land banking, and if I can't answer it, I can get the answer and get it back to you. Doug's plan, with the regional model was to get a couple different counties together to form a county land bank in each of their entities. And then work on a shared services model. We know that most of our counties can't afford, you can form a land bank, that doesn't cost anything, but now to staff it is a whole nother conversation. And you don't necessarily have enough work to bother staffing it, right? Or, you might not even have 1/4 of a part-time person, right, that is needed for whatever project. And it might be, you have a project this month, but you don't have a project for another year after that. So Doug's thought was if we get enough of the counties together to form their county land bank authority, he could do an intergovernmental agreement to hire a staff person to staff more than one county land bank at a time. What that model actually looks like, we're still working through the legalities of. There's thoughts that we could say county A, B, and C forms their authority, and now they signed an intergovernmental agreement with NEMCOG to form a new authority altogether, and that new authority can own property, can have all those tools that the land making law allows. It's not clear whether we can do that or not, so we're working on that. In the interim, I think, and everybody I can talk to, I tell them that I think this is the best option to immediately get the job done, if you guys want a land bank, is to form your county land bank, which just takes a motion by the commissioners to decide you want to do that. Me and Doug and others can help you guys with bylaws and policies and what makes most sense for Alcona. And then we put it on the shelf for a minute while we work on getting a couple other counties going. And then Doug can do a memorandum of understanding or intergovernmental agreement to just hire a staff person. And that staff person reports to any county land bank authority that's part of the plan. So they would have to meet with multiple boards, which can be complicated for the staffer. But I would hope that I'd work with everybody to come up with uniform policies and bylaws that work pretty well in each county, so that that staffer is kind of, for the most part, following one set of rules. And then they're just reporting to that county's land bank board for decisions made in that county. The thing about land banking that is a little bit different than your regular county government or your city board of government is that often you guys are probably used to seeing, you have to approve every bill that gets paid and every contract that gets signed and every acquisition or disposition that happens. With a land bank authority, it's more about saying, this is the project we want, or this is the goal that we have as a board. And then letting that person, that's your staffer, giving them the trust to go forth and get it done. It's a leaner, meaner model of making sure that projects get done and they're not waiting for the next monthly or quarterly board meeting. So you would give them authority to sign on behalf of the county to pay the bills, or the county land bank rather, to pay the bills, to acquire a property, to sell the property when the time's right to sell it. So anyways, that would be the model that I would recommend, just to get the thing off the ground, and you guys can start using the housing TIF and quiet title authority that's needed, and start acquiring things for whatever projects you guys want to see done at Alcona to bring housing or other economic development. Any questions?
You say cleaning up this title,
Yeah,
can be quicker, how much quicker?
I don't know exactly because I've never had to do it not expedited, but an expedited model says, you go through the process of researching who you need to send notice to, who the potential entities are that may still have interest in the property legally. And then you file petition with court within 90 days. You sent the notices, you've had the court date, and you get the judgment, assuming the judge is favorable to the condition. So within 3 months, you have a clear and marketable title again. After the judgment, it takes 10 days, of course, before it's final. But I've heard of much, much longer. I don't know what it normally looks like without expedited. I just know what I'm used to doing in the land banking world. So when 90 days is expedited, I worry about how much longer it is without expedited. I have no idea.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah,
Some of those can.
we would do huge court actions with like batches of properties and we go do all the research and then file the with the court and send out all the notices and then meet the judge and we literally do it with big batches. You guys would have it here, you have one off at a time. And I honestly, at that point, would just say hire an attorney to get it done because they're gonna be more efficient than a staffer on something that's one property at a time. But they can use your authority because they're doing it on your behalf.
So you just use both title something and then the team research.
You can, yeah, so you always start with that, so you're gonna go to your title company and say, give me a title insurance policy, and they're gonna come back to you and say, well, we can, if you get a quick claim deed from Joe, Jane, and Mary Smith that have interest, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna take this information, research, look at my voter rolls, look at probate, try to get all the contact information I can for them and send out the notices, and then you file the court.
That can all happen in 90 days. Kind of impressive, to be honest. I've been through a
Yeah.
few of them and they take forever.
They
It
do
seems
take
like.
forever, yeah. The longest I saw us take one time was 6 months, and that was because our quiet title specialist had a huge batch she was working on. And one of the guys' names was like William Miller or something, and she was just like. So she had to take a little extra time to research it before she could even get to a point where she could say to the court, okay, I'm ready.
So I know when we did, remember we had the blight elimination grants there a few years ago? So we missed out on quite a bit of it. And even now, I think there's still some blight elimination grant available, but you have to be a land bank in order to even qualify.
Yeah, it's going away, and I don't know if they're gonna do another one,
Yeah.
state land bank, but that's today, what's tomorrow, but
Those were one of the benefits that we could have enjoyed if we had been in a land bank. So what we do have is we have blight in all the townships. All townships grapple with it and
Yeah.
figure it out. So what, in your experience, these aren't necessarily foreclosed properties.
Right.
How would a land bank, if we had a land bank, how would what would be the approach? Somebody's
Yeah.
got a place, it keeps getting assessed and it's lower and lower and lower, so it's not, the taxes are nothing anymore.
Right.
The house is condemned.
Could be,
Right, so what I would recommend then is you would say to your staffer, here's the list of addresses we want you to go after, look into, see if there's something we can do about in each of our communities. That staffer would reach out to who they think is the owner, find out, do they even want the property anymore? Sometimes they're just excited to get rid of it. If you take on a property through a tax foreclosure, any of those previous, any water bills, if there are any tax liens are removed. But if you're buying a property, even accepting a donation, you're taking on those liabilities. So your staffer would be researching, are there liens on the property? Are there taxes owing? Is there any other thing that your land bank would be taking on by acquiring it and taking that into consideration? But then they would work on, if they can, acquiring the property at whatever price makes most sense. Cleaning up liens if there are any, because state land bank and other funding sources generally won't let you use money on it until those liens are resolved. You can always quiet the liens. That's quiet title authority. You can use those to quiet liens. So if you have, for instance, a bank mortgage on the property and you're like, this thing's worth nothing, it's negative dollars, it's gonna cost to demolish it. You can reach out to that bank and say, are you willing to release the lien? If not, we are going to do a quiet title action and see if we can get your lien removed. So there's tools in the toolkit there to deal with all of those without just paying the mortgage off would be crazy, right? So anyways, you acquire the property, you work on getting grant dollars, a lot of times grant dollars will pay for the acquisition costs and the lead removals.
That's my next question, because I
taxes.
think with the housing, with the things that
Yes.
are going on now,
Mhm.
we qualify for some grants to actually purchase these properties. And
Yes.
begin the process of rehab.
Right, you could reach out to the owners, and if you're okay with them keeping ownership and you just wanna remove the blight, but you don't wanna acquire it because it's gonna be too expensive. You could have them sign an agreement that says that they're okay with the county land bank doing the demolition. And then you can use those grant dollars to do the demolition, and then you would put a lien on the property for the cost of demolition. That would go away after so many years of those grant dollars, but that way that they're not just gonna turn around and sell it, and make a profit off of it, right? But you could remove the blight without ruining the property, but your land bank staffer could work through what makes the most sense.
Right.
Triage each property for what the best case scenario, apply for those acquisition dollars, demolition dollars, get it cleaned up. And then if it makes sense, you know, if you want to return it to nature, right, let's say it's a wetland area, it shouldn't be built in, fine, but if you want new development there, they can now work with the developer to come in and say, what capital stacks can we put together to make this, turn this into workforce housing that's going to be affordable for people to live there and also affordable for the contractor to build the thing.
I'm thinking about is, seems like every township has a house that burned down,
Yeah.
Mhm,
and they don't, and it's sitting there.
mhm.
And they have a very difficult time engaging with landowners in a way to like what she's talking about, and we
Yeah.
would too. But a land bank would be able to do that.
Yeah.
You can go negotiate with that person, engage them and talk about ways, and many times those people are like, yeah, I just get rid of it.
Yeah.
If you can get me out of this, I'd like to get out of it.
Exactly,
I
yeah,
could tell you too, right now, that they've had townships that are working on for years. in
Yeah.
regards to burnt down buildings.
there's one of my township I'm thinking of right now.
And ultimately, it brings it back on the tax roll as.
Right,
That's our
right,
goal, is to
Yes.
bring it back to where it's not an anchor anymore, it's actually.
it's actually bringing income back to
Bringing in
the
revenue,
community. Yeah, yeah, and so, while it's in the land bank's inventory, it's exempted. Once it leaves the inventory, now it's back on the rolls. Anything that leaves the land bank's inventory, once it sells, unless there's a TIF, like your brownfield is a whole other conversation, but in general, when a land bank sells a property, it goes to what's called 550 tax capture. So for 5 years, 50% of the taxes that are assessed and paid on that property will go back to your land bank. And it just kind of helps keep the doors open, keep it going. It's not a lot of money, to be completely honest, unless you have a huge development with no TIF. I remember seeing checks come in that were like $5 to the Genesee County Land Bank at a time. It is what it is, right? You know, when they're a vacant lot, they're not worth anything. But it's a small revenue pot that helps keep the projects running forward. It's a good general admin support mechanism. And it's only for 5 years, so your local unit isn't going to see a long-term impact from those taxes. You're not talking about 300 properties here at a time, you're talking about 1 or 2 properties at a time when you're, working on projects and then sell them or not, you might be renting them. Any questions? All right, well, if you guys decide you wanna do it, let me know. And I'll work with Doug on it. I'll be happy to, get you guys all kinds of information on what you would need to do, what the bylaws could look like. There's so much material out there. In the land banking world, we're all pretty, quick to help each other. I've got a ton of tools that I used to use that I stole from other land banks. I would, call the trainer, they say, hey, I really like your, well, for instance, the one where they can take back the property if they don't do the thing that they said they were gonna do. We use that a lot, their claw back. I'm like, can you send me that? And they're like, here's the Word doc. Do you want anything else? So there's a lot of things you can do. And that tool I found really helpful because you have people come in with grand ideas. They're going to redevelop this property and they get all these great ideas and a lot of energy. And they apply for free grants and don't get them and they just kind of peter off. And now the property is sitting there and you no longer have control and it remains blighted. With that type of agreement, you sign a development agreement with them. And then in the deed that you sign to them, it also refers to that and says that there's a lien on the property from the land bank until that development agreement is fulfilled. And at the same time that you deed them the property, you have them deed back to you for $1. And you record the deed to them but you don't record the deed back and it just goes in the filing cabinet. And when they get the work done, you record a release of lien and everybody's happy, you move on, because you don't want it back anyways. But God forbid the worst happens and they've done nothing with it and you can't get a hold of them anymore, they've ghosted you, you can record that deed and take it right back. So it's one of the small things that we do in the landmaking world that helps make sure that the job gets done. I've never had to actually record a deed back, by the way. Everybody has gotten the job done. When those teeth are there, they might need more time, but as long as you're showing progress, we keep working with them and we're gonna make percentages, but they've never had to see anything like that. So, as opposed to stuff we sold that didn't have those teeth and the property just sat there.
Like on a lot of the grants that they give, isn't it like after 5 years? If it, that the grant's forgiven? Is that?
It depends on the grant. Yeah, it depends on the grant. It depends on the grant amount. It depends on the activity of the grant. It can be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. It just depends.
They just go move against that house on the.
Yeah, and sometimes it says for 5 years, all of it's due up to that point. Other ones say 1/5 every year for 5 years is your lease. It just depends on what the range is that's signed and agreed to. Alright,
Great.
okay, thanks for looking at these, me guys.
Yeah.
I left this with all my quick and easy land making information. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. Okay, please, bye. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Fran saves the day. Look what my DI got back on. I don't know if you know, but Fran is our new president of Bill Iasco since Rich stepped down. So Fran's the president. I was excited to see you again. And I just finished this flyer hot off the presses. That is our June 11th. It's our second quarter community meeting. It's in Asabo, which is not too terribly far away. Hope you guys can come out and have some barbecue. I'm gonna have METC there talking about what they have to offer, and then there'll be local updates from Develop Iasco and our Child Care Coalition, which is including that's the whole Northeast region. Iasco County will be there as well, doing updates, and Asabo Township. So come on out and have some free barbecue. Alright.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone.
Next up, we have the MSU Extension 4-H update. I can see. We just gotta get her, mic turned on, we should be good to go.
Hi there, everyone. I am joining from Iasco County myself today. And I just got a notification that I'm okay, just checking my computer. I had planned to be here to talk to you about a millage, but I had a conversation, very helpful conversation with Stephanie and Trina in the clerk's office about that millage, and realized that the collection would carry us into 2028. And so we can postpone when we would renew instead of renewing a little early. So I'm really grateful for that, because I don't really need to do another millage renewal campaign. And but then I had already asked for time on the agenda, so I thought, well, I'll just keep it because it's good for you to see me and for me to see you all. And it's always fun for me to be in meetings with Frances and other folks. I also watched her deliver her annual report to Iasco today. So always nice to be on the same schedule with you, Fran. And just to mention that we've got a lot of activities going on right now for youth in the community, and things gearing up for more. Soccer is kids are signing up for soccer now, or they're in soccer now. We'll also have baseball going on. We'll have fall soccer, and livestock projects have already been purchased. They're already, kids are already doing great work, taking care of animal projects that they'll get to showcase at the fair this summer. I believe I've just set an appointment to deliver the annual report in the first part of June. So I'll be there with you in person at your first June meeting. Hopefully my staff can join me for that. But, I just didn't, I just thought, well, if they see me, I could have canceled, but it was an opportunity for me to get a little bit of FaceTime, even though I had to join you remotely. Because I have meetings back to back all the time. And I wouldn't have had time. Somebody needs to get some teleportation going. That would really be helpful. Then I could be there with you in person. But happy to take any questions that you may have about events or activities upcoming. Also, during the meeting in IOSCO today, they were getting into a discussion about data centers. And I know that data centers are a big topic of conversation across the state. Different communities have been approached, and more rural communities may become areas where people think the development potential is high. But I also know that, you know, the infrastructure needs are also high. Michigan State University has put together a web page with lots of different educational resources linked to it, about utility considerations, land use considerations, you know, benefit versus cost considerations. And they've tried to really be as neutral as possible, as even-handed as possible in presenting pros and cons, and maybe just helping people understand how those systems work and how they interact with existing systems. So I will share that forward with Chelsea and with Stephanie so that they can be shared out with you. Or I guess I could just email all of you directly. That's not a problem for me either. And you can just do with that information what you like. But if there's any other information that you have that you would be interested in learning about more from MSU Extension, feel free to let me know.
Have you found people to work the makerspace at the elementary school? Those positions were filled?
Yes, so we're in the process of trying to hire someone. Thank you for bringing that up. With the additional funds that I requested from the fund balance, working to hire someone for the summer that can engage with the makerspace in the elementary school. We had an applicant for the job who I believe found out about the job through Michigan State and maybe wasn't sure where the location was. That candidate was based in Lansing, in the Lansing area, and therefore we need to be more clear with folks about where the actual employment is. So they declined the interview once they understood that it's not commutable from the Lansing area. Stephanie Domke and I had a conversation yesterday about how we can make it a summer opportunity. And then she's identified someone who could do a fall school year opportunity, and we'll promote the job opportunity to both of those. So just to clarify, that would be an on-call position. So it doesn't have set hours or schedule, which is nice because there's flexibility, roughly 10 to 20 hours per week with an hourly wage. So it's not considered part-time or even eligible for benefits through our system, given the presentation that you had earlier about human resources. I thought maybe that would be a corollary, but it does offer flexibility. It would be a great opportunity for someone who's retired or a recent graduate who's looking to do something with kids. And certainly there's lots of things that can become summertime activities and events, in addition to the things that Stephanie already has planned for the summer, lots of camps, lots of enrichment for youth. So yes, we are planning to hire someone.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions or Judith? Looks like we're good. Appreciate your time.
All right,
And
great. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in about a month.
Okey-dokey.
Bye.
Hey, Jen, let's take this opportunity to let's present your proposal. What do you has, we have all that in our practice?
Here's
We had the handouts.
I can get it. I can get it. Presentation.
I take consideration that you have an extremely busy agenda today, so I have a tendency to talk fast. We can attempt to try to slow down whenever I talk to you. Maybe I won't try so hard so that I can keep it moving. Basically, I'll give you a little past situation. My predecessor back in 2020
had revamped some of the positions within the court upon the retirement of the juvenile register. We didn't replace the position, we consolidated that position with the probate register. And over the last couple of years, we've realized that that's been a bit much. So last year, with the retirement of our scheduling clerk, we moved that position over to the scheduling clerk, also that is not working. So one thing that happened last year, so that I bring up, move forward, when I was working with our budgets, I was doing some homework on eligibility with the child care fund and basic grant, and try to figure out why we had never previously billed the juvenile register's position to the child care fund. And found that there's no real good reason why we didn't. So, put 25%, and based on time studies, we're gonna be doing, and be required to do quarterly time studies. It seemed legitimate to do that because that position is also primarily, or I shouldn't say primarily, more than maybe 0.5% is the scheduling clerk and the court reporter, also the backup probate register. So that position right now is 25% of that position is being reimbursed by the child care fund, which has never been previously done. So this particular position is paid $44,500 roughly, of which 11 is paid for by the child care fund. If we were to move some positions and bring back a part-time court recorder, scheduling clerk, then I could revamp the juvenile probation or juvenile register's position to be more closer to 9% reimbursed by the child care fund and partially the basic grant. So what that would do would create a situation, if you have your pretty little pie chart, thank you, Chelsea, that shows we could have a much larger percentage billed to the child care fund. This would create a cost difference of what right now the county is paying to what they would be paying, of about $28,914 and roughly 58 cents based on 2026 salaries. What we're asking for is about $26,500 to pay a part-time scheduling clerk based on 2026 wages. We don't have the money today because this would require a budget amendment, which would go into a fiscal budget situation, which starts with the child care fund in October. Puts us in a position where we would be asking the county for roughly $9,000 to get us what we would like to hopefully do is start this position June 1, get us through to October 1, where we can then modify these changes so that the county is getting a larger reimbursement for the child care fund to cover the costs. I know it's a lot, and I know I talk really fast. I've explained it in depth to finance, they understood, and we brought personnel up to date this morning. But wanted to present today what we would like to do in the hopes that this could possibly go into effect. Yeah, this year, probably June. We are in a bind right now. The court, we are struggling to keep things together and to be caught up. So the sooner that we can implement this, the faster. Trying to be creative, trying to be flexible, trying to not ask you for much, because we understand your rules and your budgets and your needs, which is why I would just need this little Band-Aid to get us to October 1. Am I forgetting anything else, or does that sound
Well presented.
okay? Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfinished business. Okay, Full County Sheriff's Office millage. So, in order to get on the August ballot, if we so choose, we have to make a decision today. If we would like to proceed with that, Chelsea, is there a copy of the language inside of this? Here it is right there.
Yeah.
We had it reviewed by council. I don't think I need to read it out loud to everybody, so I'll do it anyway. It's gonna make a difference in how much we ask for, but, so draft out proposal for Uwalcona County Law Enforcement operating millage. Sorry, Uwalcona County Law Enforcement operating millage proposal. Shall limitation on the amount of taxes which be imposed on all taxable property in the county of Uwalcona, Michigan be increased by. This first version is 1.5 mils. Taxable value for a period of 3 years, 2026 through 2029, inclusive for the purpose of funding the Uwalcona County law enforcement operations, including but not limited to supporting necessary operational activities of county law enforcement, criminal justice, emergency response for the citizens of Uwalcona County. Estimated revenue at a 1.5 mils would be $1,572,913 for the first year. The alternative,
It's the same amount of mills. Adam, for
Yeah.
both, it's just the verbiage is completely different.
is one of these, well, I should have read this ahead. Well, I'm only,
I need the first one.
the first one is what we're considering. Don't worry about the second one this time.
Mr. Chairman, I've been thinking about this. I really do think that we should make it please for 6 years. This is a sustaining action.
Yes, this is the one that's.
I can't conceive of anything that is going to, cost-wise, that's going to be reduced. Gas might go down a little bit in the next 6 years. But payroll, electric, water, sewer, all of those things. The benefits to our employees, vehicles that we purchase, all those things, they're not going to go down. And I think for long-range planning, I think a 6-year proposal is a more appropriate way to go, and I would be more than happy to support it, what you have just read on a 6-year basis rather than 3.
Okay. Pat, since you directed it all this time, I apologize for not inviting you.
No, no,
here.
that's
You'd
fine.
like to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, sure. Was there a reason that we're doing 3 versus 6?
I didn't pick the 3. I really don't know where that came from, but
That
I
was,
talked to Commissioner Brumman this morning about the 3-year, and one thing that she brought up was that would put us in our off-cycle year for an election on the next renewal. So I think that's probably a good idea. If not, if you're looking at a shorter term, 4 years, so that we're on an election cycle and not having to do it in an off year. So I think there's some real validity to what she's saying. And as far as costs going down, she's right. There's nothing gonna go down in costs. Law enforcement or anywhere else. Except gas. I hear gas will go down sometime.
But it would go back on in 2030, which would be an election cycle.
Yeah.
So you would be covered
If it's a 3-year.
if it was a 3-year. Cause you're going
Yeah,
through
I didn't do
2029,
the math, I was just going on what she said, so
Okay.
I
cause you're gonna collect
I'll
your
defer to you. I
your
guess.
winter taxes are gonna carry over into February of 2030, so you get it back on that August ballot in 2030, and there's no gap.
There's,
I could be wrong. Could be wrong.
I could sure be wrong too. But the verbiage that is here, we would collect taxes in December of 26, December of 27, and December of 28. There would be no taxes collected in.
This goes through, is inclusive of 2029.
This is through.
So all the millages that expired in 2025 went on in 2026, or going on.
4 years then.
All the ones expire in 2027 will go on in 2028. So if this goes off in 2029, it'll be
But
in the
it's
2030
4
ballot.
years if we do 26, 27, 28, and 29, not 3 years. And I read the 3 and didn't pay close enough attention to it. Regardless, I still. Well, 6 years.
I just wanted to.
I see no problem with 6 years anyway.
And for planning purposes,
5 for 6 years.
Got a motion? Okay.
but, yeah, let's do a motion. That's probably where to do it.
I receive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll make a motion to put this on for 6 years.
Which one?
The first language for that for
We're
6
not
years
looking at the second.
versus 3.
We're
First
not
one.
looking at the second one. Okay, this is for number one.
Yeah, that second one probably didn't even expect. Never under consideration.
and I'll second that motion.
moved and seconded, first, you sorry.
Small.
Is there anything in that language that, gives you pause at all?
I don't think so. The word road patrol wasn't mentioned in there specifically, was it?
No.
Generally, I understand law enforcement services is the wording that is preferred in that type of language. So, when I read that a few days ago, that was palatable to me.
Okay.
So the 6 years will go through,
30. No, is it 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
And we'll go on in 30, it'll go back on in 2032.
Steph is not gonna be your problem or mine by then, all right?
No, right, I agree, Scott, that sounds great. We're racing each other out door.
I just, we're sort of retirement planning apparently. I'll be here. Don't worry.
Good.
I guess I gotta ask, Scott, do you have any problems with the wording on this?
So you just confirm that, just now.
No, yeah, he did, the wording looks fine to me, for sure, so, thank you for asking.
Nothing about that emergency response or criminal justice?
I think that's in our world, I mean, that's, I think that's what people are looking to see is that we're responding to emergencies and we're taking criminal investigations, so. Do you have any suggestions or, do you want to lead me in any direction here? Cause I'm not following what you're putting down, I guess.
Well, sometimes us on board, we interpret things a little bit different maybe than criminal justice could be the court system. Emergency response could be the EMS.
No, I think that you've got law enforcement services in there,
Yeah.
earlier on, I think that's pretty that's pretty clear that it's not for those things. That's why I steered away from, public safety millage or calling it a public safety millage, because then you certainly are including those things. Maybe not necessarily the court system, but you're certainly including fire and EMS and that, maybe even dispatch and so. I don't see much with that language.
Right. That's all.
Any other commissioners calling in? Pretty quiet. Yeah, thanks, Scott, appreciate it.
Problem.
Then, we'll do a roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Yax.
Yes.
Good, for said nothing. Motion carries. Okay, moving on. Claims, please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment in April 14th and May 4th, 2026. For check numbers 160-673 to 160-849 and e-checks 2900 to 2912 for a grand total of $2,390,146.43.
Second. All right. Each to it. Any questions, concerns?
I'll just add that is a little different than what's on there, and that's because they have the road commission, checks in there too.
Well, okay.
So it was a little different than what's on the sheet, so. We'll
Roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Yax,
yes.
Brady.
Yes. Next up, cancer appointment renewal. Stephanie, if you would.
The Democratic Party took care of their canvasser appointment, the seat that was expiring. I reached out to the Republican Party. The chair stated that he didn't have anyone interested to run or be appointed as canvasser. So, in the meantime, I had spoke to Jamie Germond, whose seat is expiring. And, she is still interested in being on the canvasser board. So, you only have one option or one choice to choose from. You don't have three names. So I request that you please reappoint her.
Make a motion to appoint Jeannie Drummond.
Support.
I was in support of it.
Well,
One was fast.
Can't, well, I beat her on the last one. So
I can withdraw this.
All right, any discussion? This is roll call or no?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion carried. Porter County Library ballot
Thank you.
language. State your case.
Oh, you just state my case.
Oh, you should have made 5 minutes, okay.
I can compare the page. So, we want to go for a renewal and extension, let's see, how did it? a renewal and extra, how's that? But anyway, you want me to read you the proposal I sent to you?
No, I just, we have a proposal for us, we think, just if there's any highlights or things that you wanna bring up about it that, through the process that,
We want, you know, the 0.5 renewed and then 0.25 added on, there's heading, so there's different numbers in there. We want to go for 10 years versus we have in the past gone for 8. 10 is the maximum we can go for. The years are inclusive, 2026 through 2035, which means the next vote would be 2036. I'll be retired then. I'll be retired in 2027, but it's inclusive for the purpose of, you know, library funds. And then we estimated that we would collect the first year $759,000. And, you know, you'll be distributing the funds to us, to the board. I don't know, any other question?
any more questions? I figured since you're here, you might as well
Adam,
Thanks.
say your piece.
I do, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm not a commissioner, but I seem to have a lot to say. I just want clarification. So. Because you have to watch new versus renewal.
Right,
So my question is that you're asking for the previously voted or authorized of the 0.4878,
right,
and you're asking for an additional
0.2622, which would end up being,
the previously voted 0.75 mils. So you're not asking for more, correct?
we are asking for more.
It wasn't previously.
The old was 0.48 whatever. The new is 0.2622. It does say that, you know. The 4.878 is a renewal of the previous authorized that expired.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the rest is new additional millage. When I originally went to our lawyer, I asked to have it all new. She says this wording is good for the state. I find it confusing, no matter how you do it. I find
What was
everything
your
about the
prior-
millage.
I'm sorry, I didn't look at the prior one. How much was the prior
The
mill?
prior one was 0.5, which was then down by Headley to 0.4878.
I agree with the wording. And as long as your heading doesn't say renewal, which it does not,
Yes,
I think it's good.
yay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I just wanted to make sure. I didn't understand it completely.
It's good with Stephanie, it should be good with
I
everybody,
know,
right?
I'm not an attorney though.
Well, believe me, I've gone through it with the attorney.
Okay, if it's okay by your attorney, I'm just supposed to put on there exactly what you give me, so,
Yay,
okay.
All right, well, thanks, Denise.
all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the, language for the library millage. Or as presented. Who supported? Any discussion? So we'll do a roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Yachts,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. Next up, Haynes Township ordinances, short-term rentals, municipal civil infractions. I assume this is approved by attrition after 30 days unless Haynes, hey, I'm Haynes Township ordinance.
And that I would make a motion that we approve this. They do want it quicker.
I'll second that.
So,
They're waiving the 30 days.
waiting 30 days and approving it today.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, then, go ahead. That's fine. That's all right. So roll call?
No.
Okay, then. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Sorry, I had a little bit of trouble. I thought there's something there. Next up, the ACCOA agreements. Carolyn, would you
This is yeah, almost identical contract to what we had before. It provides for the, collection of the millage and on our part and on their, seniors, side, it provides for them providing services as identified there for the senior. It is everything on what we passed last time, with the exception of some addresses have changed, because of course the seniors moved, and some dates have changed. And a dollar amount of being collected is for the month, like ever so slightly. This is what the ACCOA board approved at their meeting a week ago, Tuesday.
Okay,
I also move and authorize chair to sign.
I'll second. Any more discussion? Do a roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady.
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, so next up, I'm gonna move this. Northeast Michigan Materials Management Authority contract. So what this is instead of commissioners becoming experts on this whole materials management business that the state of Michigan is imposing on us to do, there's an authority in place that we can contract for $12,000 to guide us and help us to have all the right T's crossed and the I's dotted, and it'll all be paid for by the state grant of $70,000 that we already get for this operation. Contracts in your packet, sure you have a chance to review. I don't have anything else to say, but I'll make a motion that we enter into the contract with NMMA.
Or
Move is forward.
Is this RRS or just something?
No, this
And.
is, with with the company out of M32. Bailey Bar.
Okay.
They do all, he handles all of that.
Are you picking up another contract now, or what's RRS that is that?
This is simply for somebody to run our program.
Right, I understand.
We're not run it, but so much as make sure we have everything put together properly.
It's on a year-to-year basis, so that if the grant dries up, we can stop it.
Yeah, this is our onboarding. That's what it is.
I guess the only concern I have is are we obligated to pay RRS so much
We're
going
obligated that.
forward?
No matter
We don't
what,
have more years.
5 years.
and we don't get any benefit from IRS besides that Algonah County is a part of
Well,
that.
they're the planning,
Trilogy.
they're doing the
This
planning.
is for Algonah County. They are helping us, guide us through what to do with that.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please. Oh, wait.
Oh, why did who's the second? I'm sorry.
Brandon.
Yeah, okay. No, okay, roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cross that up. Next up is the equalization contract.
Can we go back one time, back up to Haynes Township? I saw this in that packet, and they did have it in there, but I think we only approved the short-term rentals.
Correct.
We need to approve their municipal civil infractions
Oh,
schedule. Well, I'd make that motion. It should be in your package, so I think this is for them to be able to go into court on those situations.
Enforced.
seconded. Roll call. Or all in favor.
Aye.
All opposed. Motion carried. Now let's talk about the assessing, equalization assessing contract.
So make a motion that we approve renew the contract with Northeast Equalization and Assessing for the 3-year period. Like that's presented.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask for a modification under section 10.3, that it would read county's written request you shall 5 business days rather than 5 calendar days. That's in 10.3, bottom of page 5.
Carolyn, you hit on something on page 2, 3.3.
Let it go.
3.3, we don't wanna adjust.
Okay,
Let's take the number out.
They supplied this,
Keep
so
the
they.
track of the number in there.
So I'll just leave it.
Right now, we're not,
Oh, that's right, yeah, yeah,
leave that right like it is, but she just wants to make it count, business days instead of calendar days.
right, okay, got it.
So, motion with the amendment as
Mhm.
question.
Well, this is the same contract as we've been under for the last 2 years.
Any more discussion? All right, then,
One item I forgot to ask, so I think that one of the requests was to, I don't know if it was on the contract, was that, Troy Summers also gets a login. Access, so right now he does not have it, we only have it for Aaron. So I don't know if we need that in contract or not.
It's been added, it's 1.4.
Oh, is it?
Mhm.
Okay. That was the, cause I said it was nothing new, but that is the one that. Yeah. Perfect, thank you.
any more discussion? Then roll call, please.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Next item, equalization department, part-time office position. Craig,
Make a motion that we, allow equalization to advertise for a part-time position that would be involved in the window and doing recording of deeds into our digital database, starting June 1st for the rest of this year and the rest of next year. It'll be a part-time position of 28 hours.
For the sake of discussion, I will second.
move to seconded, discuss away.
Sure, so, this is, we put this in our original budget last year and the finances the way they were, and I acknowledge that they aren't that much better now. But we do have an issue, with manpower, and people being able to be in the office. Especially with, Fraser going out and doing field studies, it'll knock us down to one person again in the office this summer. So, we had a project going with the digitizing of the records to be able to include it in the digital database. That fell through in the last few months. This new part-time person will begin that process again along with running the window. We have, the office has been always a 3, I think it was 4 at one time, years ago, 4 people in that office. Even though the contract we just approved is contract for the director, we know that that does not provide for any office staffing. Although they do come in and do some office work for us at times, but they aren't specifically contracted to do that. And they're not, the contract is not gonna provide for anybody to be there, part-time or full-time. So for that reason, and because of the workload and because of the reduced number of people, that's the ask. So, and I bring this only because the board has designated me to be the liaison of this office. It is the full board's office. We as commissioners are totally responsible for this office. It does work for us, so we make that decision on whether this goes or doesn't go. So, you got any questions?
Any other discussion?
And we've got, so we're gonna do. You want 15,700 for 26 and then unless 28,700.
The full year is that we're estimated at 28.7 for the 28 hours. There'd be no benefits, ain't no healthcare or anything like that. It would just be a wage. And whatever other.
Was it work out all?
1778 with the MCAT would be 1843.
That will be a Teamsters position. Teamsters are eligible for benefits, partial benefits.
Yeah, not the healthcare. That's when I say no benefits, I meant no healthcare benefits. So there are other benefits.
They're eligible for partial healthcare too.
So you're only talking about the SD, correct? The state SD benefits?
No.
What healthcare benefits?
Our healthcare. Teamsters are eligible for partial benefits.
Yeah, okay, I think I remember something.
It's still very minimal.
Yeah.
But it will increase at 28,000.
I don't think, well, yeah, but that's, I don't know that number, what that number would be. So that 28.7 was a.
I don't off the top of my head either, but
Yeah, it is minimal.
it is minimal.
Any more discussion?
We've had a lot of things put forward already, and we've completed 4 months, 1/3 of the year. And we've had a number of financial things that have come forward. And I find it difficult. I will not be able to support this because of, it's just one more thing, and then another comes and we say, sure, another comes and we say, sure, we can do that too. I feel it's one place that we can manage. I'm confident in the staff that we currently have that will be able to manage. They will be.
For me, it's a shortage from history of what that office had at one time. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking 5 people.
But you've taken part of the obligations and responsibilities of their office and put them into a contract for $100,000.
Right.
So in my mind, that makes a difference.
Yeah. That makes the difference.
To me, it does. It might not for anybody else, but for me, it does.
Well, only that the contract doesn't provide for any office. So what we're really looking at is having presence in the office for the public. I mean, there will be times again when we have to
That's why
shut
we
the
have 5
office down.
commissioners. So
I think-
Yeah, we could go sit in there. It is our office, like you said. It's our
That's what's
responsibility.
qualified in there, aren't we? Well, maybe somebody is, but I'm.
Answer the phone, I guess.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. I guess if we, option is what we were doing, 2 years ago, shutting the office down for a day.
That has happened, yeah, that has been.
We shut down when it was fully staffed in the summer. Walked by that door many times, it's all. Office closed, field work needs to be done.
Back when there was 5 or 4 people there.
Yeah, a good day.
It definitely has happened in the last two.
Well, yeah, it's happened the last 2, but I'm talking about back when they had 4 or 5 guys there. I mean, there was. I'm checked, right, believe me, I'm not trying to change your mind,
Oh,
Caroline.
I'm sure you're not.
I'm just thinking about those.
All questions.
Any more discussion? All right, roll call.
Yax,
No.
Brumman,
No,
Brady,
No.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, what is this, okay, help me and educate me on this, Prairies event at county building,
I'll be honest, I had no idea.
I wish I was smarter. about
So, can I speak a little? bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Carolyn brought this up to me. I did do a search on May 11th. There is a statewide, on a Sunday, I saw only state.
okay, I'm.
Yeah, so all 83 counties are going to, there's a movement to have a prayer for government. Local and state government. They're going on courthouse steps, let me see if I can find it, I think I took a picture of it. County prayer gathering, 250th Jubilee rededication, Sunday, May 17th. This happens to be the Presque County District Courthouse, they're having it there. Join us as we pray for our county and nation. But and it is a Sunday afternoon, I guess, Sunday.
As this is a forward building, do we need to approve this gathering? At all, or is this an acknowledgement, or we have to?
I mean, we have in the past when they use our.
Yeah,
It's outdoors.
so we don't approve like the protesters on the corner either, so.
And they stay on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Well,
They park in our parking lot, just like.
yeah, well, go ahead, go to the.
I'm just asking, I'm just asking.
Cardi, come down
And, we can, if you want, I mean, if you wanna make a motion to approve this, I'm fine with that.
I would make the motion to approve the allow.
It's like I said, they came to me, they caught me at the entrance, and dropped off their flyer and said it's a statewide event. I didn't really have an issue with it, we've been having a lot of things to go on, but I just wanted the commission to be aware. Because it's on the weekend, we had to let next door know that there may be something going on. And the difference is the protesters even, they requested, they're all down by 23. This keeps saying the courthouse steps, the courthouse building. So I don't know if that means they're going to be doing something around the building. That's the question I didn't understand when I presented this.
Makes sense.
So I'd make the motion and on contingent that Dave talks with them and make sure they're not gonna, you know, do anything with the building.
Yeah.
If they wanna be
It's
in
not
the yard.
inside at all.
No, it's all
Not inside,
outside.
yeah.
It's just gonna be either down by the flagpole or something like that.
My motion would mean you designate where they can get.
Sure. That's okay. I just want everybody to know because it said at time, but it is a statewide event.
I'll support that.
Move to second, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Good care. And then you go to the next one.
Yeah, let's get it done,
Yeah,
yep,
appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely. Chat. Hey, Bill, the ground is just have to show up, and here you are in the next item too.
Well, I presented both items, so I thought I might as well show
There
you.
you go. Then you're up, sir.
We purchased a new floor scrubber, the first of the year. It's been working very well. We have the old one sitting out in the garage. It's a battery operated one. It needs some batteries, needs some parts. I have a friend that works taking care of the maintenance of the Catholic Church down in Ascota. When I mentioned to him that we were basically buying a unit, they expressed interest in buying our old unit to clean their floors down there and stuff. Yeah.
May I stop and ask you not to indicate any prices in case we decide we have to go out for bids?
Okay.
Sure. Go ahead. but-
Yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. And so I said, sure, I looked it up online, what the cost was gonna be, I mentioned to them what the price was gonna be. And they said, yes, they wanted to do it. But then we got into, is it county property? Dave and I discussed it, we had come up with maybe a basic idea of what we were gonna do with it. A purchase to go ahead and do it, but then somebody else brought up the idea, do we need to list it in the paper? I mean, for less than $1,000 item. You know, do we need to list it in the paper? Basically, if we list it in the paper, we're gonna list it for a minimum bid of $500. Cause they're going anywhere from $500 to $900 online, depending on what they are. So either I gotta list it online for 2 weeks, meet whoever wants to look at it here, deal with it. Or we already have somebody that was willing to meet.
Stephanie, give, stay on policy for this, like, I know we have to do squad cars and everything like that, but.
And that was a question, it's a dollar amount, it's,
So it's under 1,000, it's,
don't know.
No, I think it's different than that. I think it's if it's going to a private entity, it has to be auctioned, but if you're giving it to, you're selling it to another government agency or maybe a nonprofit, it doesn't have to be bid, because I have an item to bring up shortly today.
Because you were in the same boat with the similar kind of things.
We discussed selling a used vehicle to a private company that did police academy. And we had to auction it, we couldn't sell it to them all.
But if you're gonna give it to another entity, maybe.
I know another government entity, I don't know if nonprofits are.
Okay. That was the question we had.
Thank you, Scott, because I didn't know the answer.
No problem.
In your, it's in our treasurers.
It's in our policy book.
Our
Yeah,
policy
we just
book.
don't have it right here, right now,
Okay.
but yeah, it is. We have it in our finance policy book.
I'll make a motion,
Can
if
I,
it's not,
yes,
prohibited by policy.
Yeah.
That we go ahead and allow Dave to, sell the
unit,
units
sure.
independently.
okay.
I-
Yeah, we'll check into it. We're trying to figure out how to do this, like I said, because it's,
Treasurer's office has what our adopted policy is.
I'll support.
So.
So, like, once again, motion is granted.
I'll support your motion.
All right,
yeah, and if
I
it's
got
not,
it.
and if it's not allowed, then we will
If
definitely.
it's not allowed,
cross
we're gonna do it
the
anyway, but if it is allowed,
Yeah.
then go ahead, knock so, all right,
Okay,
roll call.
Johnston is gone. Oh, shoot. Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady,
Yes.
Yax.
Yes.
I'm sorry for having interrupted you.
no,
but
that's okay.
Just in case we want.
Yeah, I understand.
I
Thank
wanted
you.
to protect the.
All right, thanks.
Finance report, we met today, there's no money to be moved around, we're trying to tackle multiple. I got the agenda right here. Oh, that's not the right one. We do a finance thing, Bobby? Oh, here it is. Let's see. Nothing. Talked about the audit a little bit. We're still providing, the right officials are providing the information to the auditor still. We do not have a final this time. Last week, a couple commissioners sat in on the, exit interview. Other than that, we discussed, funding for the potential, addition to the, for Jen's position, which, yeah.
The audit went really well. Or I, you making that up?
Did you say that? Exit?
Yeah. Here you go.
I think that's it for finance.
Thank you for walking me, please.
You forgot anything?
No,
Wow.
it's an age, unbelievable.
Yeah, slow. Personnel report, that's me again. Really nothing to bring up today for personnel. Besides the issues that are already been presented. Treasurer's report, please.
Some of you have already had it, because I did provide it to the finance committee. This here is our 2025 settlement report. I have paid out all the entities. All the checks are mailed out. As you can see, what's highlighted, it says amount delinquent. What was paid out was $2,224,157.92 to make all the entities full. And this is what came over, delinquent. There was a question in regards to what we paid out last year, 2024. We did pay out $2,116,126.94. So we paid an additional like $100,000 this year. That all comes out of the DTRF, the 516 fund. So I am very happy that settlement's over. As you all know, we did foreclose on 19 properties. We did get an auction date, August 21st. That's gonna be online, so those 19 properties will be in the auction. If anybody has any questions, most of the information will be available towards the middle of June. I do have a website that people can go to. It's www.tax-sale.info. They can get any information from us too. We will have booklets available for the public, and the information will also be online on our website. I also attached, I did get from the Department of Treasury, just like a notification. It's like a news release, but I did share it with the treasurers, the township treasurers, so they can let their board know and the fire department know. But there is a grant that is being put out there by Treasury for fire equipment grant. And the fire equipment and gear, so up to 50,000. So the fire departments can apply for that if that's something that they're in need for, their township. So, and I just thought maybe I'd let you commissioners know, so I know sometimes you go to board meetings and stuff, and if anybody needs any information, they can let me know and I can send them the link. So, as Adam was saying, the audit is going very well. We did have an exit interview. We did very well with the exit interview. Couple areas that will be working on for next year. Nothing major, easy fixes. Stephanie and I are both still working behind the scenes with the auditors. They're still requesting quite a bit of information, and we're getting them to them as soon as possible. We do have until June 30th to have our audit completed, but we'll have it completed way before then. Just more of an FYI, Stephanie had emailed me because she has been working on renewals for our liability insurance.
And there was a question asked in regards to the F-65 2024 fiscal year, the reporting. That it was online, there was a data entry error. And, a total amount got put into Public Works instead of Road Commission. So I did reach out to the state of Michigan and also to our auditors, and the auditor tried to go on to the portal and update the information, but she could only have view only, so I did notify the state. I told the state about it. They opened up the portal right away. That's all been corrected, so our 2024 F-65 report is reflecting appropriately. So that's all corrected, and that was done very quickly.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I think that's it.
That's great. Clerk's report.
Off of the F-65 report, that was actually Seth, our new representative with MMRMA, who noticed that. Because it's taken into consideration as part of the renewal process, so, he's moving along with the renewal. And hopefully we'll be getting that. He wants to come and meet with me on May 19th, I believe it is. And then if everything looks good, they'll actually do the proposal, which will be probably the 1st of June, because we have to have it on the commissioners' meetings in June, because renewal goes into effect July 1. And that was one of the deadlines that was completed, so that was good to have that whole renewal online, because it is reaching out to a lot of different departments to gather information and any changes that have occurred throughout the year. And like Sheila said, the audit went really well. It's so nice them having access to the BSNA, and they pretty much just get their stuff what they want. I mean, it used to be a big deal. And you were running things and they wanted this, and it was all hands on deck for that whole week, and you just hope it wasn't payroll or there wasn't a lot of court, but it's really nice. I mean, they come in and ask for very few items face to face, but I mean, it's nice. The girls, Tina and Trina, I gave them a little yellow stars, little A+ for AP, so that was really good. I did meet with Tina Anderson, who is the Chief of Staff for the Secretary of State. She was present. She came and meet with me, myself, and then she went up to Alpena and met with the county clerk there. And basically her meeting was just in regard to elections, election integrity, how it is here at the county level. And I reported that I feel pretty confident in Alcona's elections, and she basically said, you know, what can the Bureau of Elections do for you? And I didn't have a whole lot to ask for. Basically, an in-person, face-to-face canvassers training, and that was about it. So that was a nice meeting. And then I was invited by the Democratic Party last Tuesday to attend their meeting to review and explain and notarize anyone who wanted to run for precinct delegates. And that was a good turnout, and it was really nice to attend their meeting, well received, so that was nice. Also, June 4th is a deadline for the ballot administration. That's why all these deadlines for the proposals are due, because I put that into the ballot administration, which is the software that creates the ballots. Also, June 10th, the Bureau of Elections will be here present in the County Commissioners meeting room to perform state training. And they do it once every, I said 2 years, but it's actually every 4 years. They'll be here in person, and they'll be so far there. It's either the township clerk and their deputy, or the township clerk and their chairperson for their elections. So there'll be 22 of us stuffed into here. It's not the training that I will be doing face to face at local townships. This is just for the Bureau of Elections, specific to the clerks and or their deputies or their chairs. Trina went over at the 1099 audit, as well as the presentation that we had today, which is now moving right in from the 1099 audits done right into job classifications. So all of our job classifications, I think Trina sent those out to the department heads and whatnot, and they're all being revamped so that all of our, I mean, this hasn't been done in 20 something years. So our job classifications will be all brought up to date. And Terry, I just wanted to clarify a little bit. The RRS is more of the development of the whole plan. And the MMMA is they're taking what we've planned and developed so far to this point and they're putting it into action. So they're two separate things. I did just question, I thought we were gonna look into that contract about if we could get out of it or not, that $22.50 that we pay every month to the Alpena County Treasurer. Maybe not? No?
I think
I think that's obligated no matter what.
yes, we had a choice to either pay it all at once.
That's our,
That's right.
that's our,
That's right.
fees for being part of the,
The 5
the
counties.
five county.
Okay.
And that was the plan at the beginning, was the first year, the $70,000 was all gonna go to the planning. And the next 2 years, we were gonna get that grant to do what we want with our resident.
That's all I got.
Can I add two things just real quick?
Yeah,
Apologize. One thing I did overlook is I did want to say, thank you to Tina in the clerk's office. She did a phenomenal job, just expediting the settlement checks. She was, and notarizing things for me. She was very accommodating and I just wanted to say thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And also with the audit, like Stephanie was saying, we did such a great job. And one of the reasons why is the scanning. The documentation that we put towards each transaction to support what we're receiving in and what we're expending out is phenomenal. It's great. It is so beneficial as far as for the auditors and for ourselves, and all the department heads have done a great job. When they do give us information, they always have the support. So we scan that in and it's there for all of us and the auditors. So I just wanted to say thank you to the department heads too. So that's it.
sheriff's report.
Got the longest report of the year today for you.
I think we have a little
We're running.
winded.
Prize to the law.
Yeah, nothing but facts, yeah.
I'm not gonna be here till 6, Terry. Thank you.
It's not that not real, what did Terry do 20 years ago, or was it slideshow or anything like that?
That would keep you here. Running out of material on Terry Small.
Thank you.
I've got a list of things there that kind of been going on the last couple of weeks. I think it's been a few weeks since we've met. I went to Clare for the District 3 meeting. The Michigan Sheriff's Association gave my president's report. I've never been to the Clare County Jail, so I got a nice little tour there. Also, I've never met the sheriff, which is odd because he's fairly close to here, and nice to meet him. Nice to see the sheriff in District 3, even though they are kind of in this band right here, a little bit lower than us. They're all a little bit bigger and they do things a little bit different than we do up here in this district. But a lot of our well, there's a few that are about our size, but not really. They're all generally 35 to 50,000 population sheriffs. Anyways, the next day we had the high school career development day at the high school, where I went over and spoke to about 30 students about law enforcement and getting into law enforcement and corrections, and that went very well. I haven't done that in a long time. I think Commissioner Brady and I did it quite a few years ago. We went over and talked about career days there. Do you remember? They had us up on the stage.
Oh, yeah. Right, at one point.
I may have been the undersheriff when we did that, but it's quite a few
I
years ago.
feel pretty proud, yeah.
It's nice to have them, because if you look down a little bit further, Oscoda Schools was here on April 22nd, and they come every year. And they bring their government class up here, Mr. Hinckley, I think Chuck's his first name, but Mr. Hinckley brings a class up every year. And we give them a good tour of the jail, the sheriff's office. And we bring them over to court and they watch court in session. And it's really a good introduction to criminal justice and local government for them. I wish our school had a little bit more stuff like that going on. To maybe help keep kids around here, get them into law enforcement or into the court system on the right side of it, not the wrong side.
We got a couple of.
Yeah, we got enough of that going on. On April 17th, I was at the school so long with that presentation, I missed the hunt board meeting. Commissioner Small, did you make it to that?
I did make it.
Yeah, I understand they're again wanting
temporary assignment from us on Hunt.
They're looking for personnel.
Yeah, same as always.
That will never change,
Yeah,
and that was a quote from them.
yeah. Yeah, well, maybe with some upcoming changes in funding, maybe we'll be able to do that. I don't know. We'll see where we're at here in a few months.
It is a good thing.
I would really like to see that at some point, if not on a limited basis, on a full-time basis, but we'll see how things go. We'll progress from there. On the 24th and 25th, we went to Lansing for the Victim Services Conference. And what that is when they get together and they do their yearly training on what they do. And our coordinator went down there for both days. As you can see, there were 50 coordinators, about 50 that met on the first day. And on the second day, there were about 350 coordinators and volunteers that were there. Pretty cool. I got to speak at both days. Candy Fulcher is our coordinator, by the way. She was there both days with me. And not only did they do their education and training and networking and all that, but they had some really nice awards they gave out to a couple of units. I didn't know I was going to be giving those out, but I got a chance to do that. It was pretty good. Both very well deserved. One went to the unit in Benzie, and the victims advocate of the year went to an advocate out of Ingham County who survived 3 forms of cancer last year and is still recovering from that, and just has the pep and the spirit that you want to see in those advocates. And she's using her troubles and her trials from last year to make herself a better advocate and volunteer for the unit. So it was really neat to see. She didn't know she was getting it, that the advocates from Benzie County, they didn't know they were getting it. So that was pretty cool to do. While I was gone, we did our drug take back day, which is our red barrel that sits in our lobby. You can bring all your prescriptions and drop them off in there. No liquids, please. And we took in, since the last drug take back, we've taken in over 60 pounds of pills. That's pretty good. That's a lot of pills off the street and in there and in the barrel that get turned over to the DEA. The 28th is something new that I'm doing this year. It's the Michigan Sheriff's Corrections Training Council. They meet about 4 times a year, and because I'm the president association, I got put on that board. And they manage the jail training and the curriculum for the corrections academies and the certification system for local corrections officers. So it's kind of nice to see how the sausage is made behind the scenes. I never really saw that, but our booking fees go to fund this. Some of the booking fee stays here locally for training funds, and the other portion of it goes to this council so they can operate. So it was nice to see how the sausage is made, help make it a little bit with them. There's 4 sheriffs that sit on that besides me, so that's pretty neat to do on a long drive. The 29th, the district health department did a kids' day down here at the parking lot. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't great and it was a little bit poorly attended, but we did our car seat installations and inspections down there. We did our child ID kits at the same time. And we did yesterday the 911 authority board meeting. Some other stuff I got going on. If you notice finance, I did a fairly large line item transfer this week. And what that was to move some money from one grant line item to another. We're purchasing a rather fancy side-by-side. It comes with wheels or tracks, so you can interchange them for some of these hard to get to places. That's our lovely Stone Garden grant that we are fortunate enough to get every year. So that should be coming up probably in the next couple of weeks. You might see that around here if we can get it equipped. Commissioner Small called me about a drone that MCOG is trying to sell. They no longer have use for it. It has about 8 hours on it, which is very low. And it's exactly what we've been looking for the last few years. The price seems to be right. They don't have a pilot anymore and they don't have any use for it. Does that sound about right?
The grant ran out.
Okay.
I mean, or it was canceled or whatever.
Yeah.
They had hired the pilot to do the program, and so they let him go, and how they're letting the drone go, which I have a picture of.
Yeah. So, they're running about 12,500 for it. I budgeted in my equipment a little bit more than that, thinking I was going to try to get into a drone for around 15,000 this year. So I did budget enough for it. And I think Commissioner Small and I are going to work on negotiating that price down a little bit from them. A lot. You said a lot?
No, not price. It's probably going to be close to that.
Yeah. My guys are really excited about this thing. This has thermal capabilities. It has mapping capabilities for crime scenes, crash scenes. The thermal is huge on finding people. I mean, you get up and you're looking at mice running around as you look at these things. And the Zoom capabilities, from 1,000 feet away is just remarkable. We've been watching YouTube videos on this thing all week, so, unless I hear some real disagreement, I'm probably gonna use that money I budgeted and go forward with that, with the caveat that I'm still gonna try to negotiate them down in price. And, it's what we've been looking for a few years, and the grants are just not, the federal grants are not letting you buy Chinese drones, but they're just not going to. So the drones we have now are Chinese, this one's Chinese DJI.
DJI.
Yeah, they don't let you buy them, so you got to figure out other means, and this is probably gonna be our best alternative for quite a while, so. And our guys we're gonna go. I mean, I have 2 pilots that are licensed and ready to go to make use of it on day one and are looking forward to it. We talked about the training options for it. Apparently comes in the software with the control module, the control panel, and it has like a flight simulator, so you can practice on that before you actually put the wing in the air and not crash it on your first trial run, so. Another thing that's going on, I didn't put on your list there, but I just found out yesterday that the U.S. Forest Service has asked me to sit as a representative for the Eastern United States Sheriffs, and helping them redevelop their CFR, which is Codes of Fire Regulation. And I don't know at all what this is gonna entail yet, but it sounds pretty cool. If it's not cool, I'm not doing it, but every few years, they have to reevaluate where their authority is derived from. They're a federal agency, and there's some real tensions in the West with federal agencies, more BLM, Bureau of Land Management, than the U.S. Forest Service, but most of the Western sheriffs are opposed to having them operate in their and enforce state laws in their area. Eastern United States, not so much. From my standpoint, I want all the help I can get out there. I rolled around in the dirt with U.S. Forest Service officers arresting people with guns and stuff before. So I want all the help I can get. I don't see any good reason not to do this, but it's the fear of big government moving in on little government. So that's kind of what the Western sheriffs are doing. But anyways, I'm looking forward to doing that if it's gonna be cool. If it's not gonna be cool, I'm not. So you may have noticed that our boat's hooked up outside here. I'm not gonna go into all the details, but I got a bill from the Harrisville Harbor last 2 weeks ago for $1,600 to keep my boat in the slip down there when I've never paid for it down there before. That's approximately between 22 and 25% of what I estimate my grant will be this year. And for me, it's an easy decision. I gotta have butts in boats rather than in the slip, and it sucks that my response time may be jeopardized because of that. But I can't waste half of my grant on the slip. So I have a meeting with one of the councilmen tomorrow to see if we can come up with some type of resolution. And I think we will. I've been speaking to the mayor, so I think there's a resolution out there. I'm hoping there is, so we can get our boat back in the water and have it ready to go. As is, it's sitting in our parking lot hooked up to the truck and is as ready to go as we can have it if something comes up.
Was the DNR bill?
Nope. Oh, they were not. Never had them. I did pay, they did send me a bill one year for $1, and I took it out of my wallet and sent it down there. It's probably cheaper for me to do that than possibly paying it. Anyways, we'll see how that works out.
I mean, are they calling you up for tugboat services and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Their harbor, as I understand, I haven't been down there, I'm only listening to what people tell me, needs to be dredged. It's very shallow and it's got some sandbars in it. And when boats get stuck inside the harbor, they expect us to come down and tow them off. And I don't do that. I'm not doing that. Our insurance carrier is not inclined to have us be a tugboat. And reefing on yachts down there, my guys aren't qualified to do that. They're qualified to go out and rescue people off the water in emergency, which sometimes means towing them back in to the safe harbor. But inside the harbor on the sandbar is not an emergency. And contrary to what you may hear, we have never turned down an emergency. There was one last year that we didn't get to before a private boat towed them in, but we respond to all emergencies. But boats stuck in the harbor where nobody's in jeopardy is not an emergency, and we're not hugging on them to come off the sandbar, so it's kind of a disagreement on what they think we should be doing and what I think we should be doing, and then that's just how it is. It's just how it's gonna be. I've had some preliminary discussions that I've shared with you about the school resource officer and how to fund that. I think I'll probably be asking for some more help on that in the future. it's gotta happen somehow. We gotta have a school resource officer. I don't think that's a nice to have anymore. I think it's a have to have. We talked about selling a floor scrubber a little while ago. I have a sheriff who is, at least initially interested in buying our old Boston Whaler boat right now. It's a boat we haven't used in 2 years since we got a flat bottom boat that is a little bit more mobile and useful for us. So we've had our Boston Whaler parked down in the, our small Boston Whaler parked in the garage down there for 2 years and haven't had it on the water. So I don't see a reason to keep it. And if they can use it and we can get a fair price for it, I'll probably be talking to them at the next meeting about selling that to them. I haven't looked at prices, don't know where it's at. But they have a use for it. Okay. Commissioner Small called me the other day and asked me about our fuel budget, how we're doing on that in light of the huge prices for gas right now. Currently, we're doing just fine and we're right around 23 or 24% of our budget that we've spent on that, which puts us in good shape. I don't know how we're gonna be if it keeps going up for the entire year. We may need to come back and revisit that, but I think we're in fine shape right now. It should be. Still waiting on the EUI. The North Service Grant is chomping at the bit to get that written up and done for us, and they just can't get it done until they have that number in place. And staying with my reimbursements with Stone Garden, we gotta have that in place. So I don't know if I have any sitting out there right now. I may not. But I certainly will after buying that side by side. So the sooner the better on that, and I see you've been working on that. I appreciate it. Not easy, is it?
Scott, I'm actually, I've been working on that as well. And I've been keeping, Stephanie, I've been talking about it, but I actually submitted to sam.gov for renewal. And I got back, congratulations, your submission has been completed. So then there's a process and I'm like, okay, so then I see, oh, good, it's all completed. So I'm thinking we're good to go. Well, now there's another step. So, and it's the federal funds. That was all the, what they call all awards, but the federal funds, but I don't have access to that. So I was able to get access to this one. Finally, I've been talking with the help desk with, the federal government, but I am working very hard. I spent my whole day, it took me 7 hours to get that one completed. I spent my whole day working on it.
It's just a nightmare. It's a nightmare to deal with them.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I did call Alpena County. She's a new treasurer. And I asked her, hey, what did you do? She goes, this was a nightmare. It took me 10 months. We didn't get federal funding for 10 months. She goes, I started in January. And she goes, I got 50 emails between the feds and me. And she says, by October, I finally got an approval. I'm like, that's not happening. It's just the hours that are involved. I'm working after hours trying to, but then you don't get the agent that can talk to you and help you. And there's no phone number you can call. That you remember that 1-800 number that we called and I said for $675? That's a scam.
They could give us a consultant.
That was a scam because I tried to call at 7:30 at night to get some help to see, and someone was available. And I'm like, no federal agents are available at 7:30 at night to help you with sam.gov. They're like, yeah, I can take the card over the phone. And I'm like, no, I said, I'll just hold off on that. So it is free. I got documentation. It is a free service. It is something that I am working on.
Very good.
This kind of got dumped on me and I'm trying to tweak it out. I know you and Adam haven't been successful trying to get through to it, but I am working on it. I know it's important we get our federal funds.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I know it's a nightmare to navigate that and
I'm working on it. I am.
Assuming and I don't know how much time Adam wasted on it, but I wasted at least a day and a half on it and so I appreciate that.
But we do need to get those funds, so I'll do my best to see what else I can do in the second phase, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've talked to Commissioner Johnson about working on a longevity issue that just needs to get straightened out, so I see he had to leave early, but I'll get with him later on that again. We have our cadets graduating Friday from the police academy and by all accounts, he's doing very, very well over there. So I look forward to getting him back here and get to work next week. He's got a couple more classes to go to as far as radar certification for speed enforcement, but they'll do that next week. And I think tomorrow morning, he's taking the MPulse licensing test, which if you remember, Terry, that was the hard one. I don't know how many times you had to take it. It wasn't even M-Poles back then. Yes, it was. No, it was Malazzi. It was Malazzi back then, but. Yes, again. You know, I can't go without mentioning the undersheriff pay, and Commissioner Brady and I spoke about that a little bit the other day, and we'll work on a couple of things, but, again, he's got the highest experience, training, and the highest education level. He's got a pretty good master's degree, folks. And nobody else has that. We've got a couple bachelors there, but that's the highest. He's also got the second highest level of supervision, responsibility, and liability, probably in the county, second only probably to me. So why we're paying him less than the sergeants, I just still don't understand that. So like to consider that some more, especially in light of the 911 director makes 22% more than the people she supervises. And my undersheriff makes 1% less than the people he supervises. That's pretty hard to understand the disparity there. I think that's all I got.
God, I have to apologize to you. The hunt meeting, they did make us aware that there was possibly some money, and I say possibly, some money for a part-time position with Park. So. We're talking about that. And of course, the other thing, I'll talk a little more about it when we return to Sergeant Wood.
Yeah.
Big for.
Yeah, big deal, because not only was he on hunt forever, but he was a very active trooper in Alcona County earlier, and I worked quite a lot with him as a trooper on the road, and when sex offender registry enforcement was a big deal, he and I worked hand in hand on that a lot. And that's a tremendous loss to Hunt and the Michigan State Police, and a super great guy. I really enjoyed working with him over the years. He'll be missed, and I'm sorry I missed his sending off. It was well deserved.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank
you. Any reports, Dave?
In our building department, our building and grounds, electric repairs have been approved. Down there at the forestry building, but nothing else as of right now. We did actually have a special library board meeting to get your language and stuff approved, so that was good. At a well advisory board meeting, we meet once a year with all the well drillers for 4 counties. And something I guess I knew a little bit, but I kind of really realized, and they talked about it, that our district health and our well drillers for our district, these 4 counties, have probably the best relationship in the state. It's not adversary, they work together. And because they have a lot of issues that I don't know, everyone, you probably don't even know. We have a flowing well just on Lakeshore Drive. They've worked on since last summer. It's still have problems. They're working with Eagle, and like in Iosco County, southern Iosco County, they have like a layer of salt brine at like 30 feet. They've had for years. Well, these wells are getting older and older, and as they're not working, they're trying to cap them and drill new wells. Well, that salt water is leaching into the good aquifer. And like it's becoming a problem. They have to get on top of it, and none of the well drillers want to work there. I mean, it's expensive to do, and no one wants to do it. But they're on top of it, and I mean, it's nice to hear that in our district we have that going. And then just like we were at the exit interview, and auditors were really impressed with our county and all departments. So there's some pretty good kudos for that. So.
It was a good audit meeting. I was very impressed with everybody. Just the few things they mentioned was so even surprised me that but it was very. I attended a Michigan Works meeting. They'll be making announcements in the future in reference the Lincoln office. Also Michigan Corrections. Attended their meeting. Thunder Bay Transit attended their meeting, and the Hunt meeting, which I pretty much already said. Hunt's always going to people, and when they even though they're not technically full staff, but they're definitely looking for people. It would be to everybody's advantage to have somebody on that team to be working on the issues which are not marijuana anymore. They're hard drugs, and we need somebody who's on that team to be looking into these things big time. This is, our prosecutor will tell you that she's busy because they're stopping them in our county, and they're coming up the road and these guys know it, and they stop and they're getting it. So, I did mention that part-time thing with Hunt too. That's all.
Carolyn,
I also would echo what James and Terry said, that the auditors were very pleased with our entire staff, but particularly with our clerk and with our treasurer, that they didn't need to ask for much because it was already in such good shape. So that's nice. I don't think they're going to reduce the price because we did so well. 911 authority, they're moving forward with notification. And, it's getting close to a trial run. And I think that will, from my perspective, it will be a really good thing for a lot of groups of people. ACCOA had fundraiser. They raised just under $1,000, and the money is going to, I think we've probably all seen where the hoops are lower for the community. And that's what they were buying with what they wanted to get was, the lower piece, the connections that you need to be able to move that to a lower level. We're in the process of doing our CLIB audit, Cedar Lake Improvement Board audit. And that's about the big,
okay. Communications in your packets to review at your leisure. Last section, public comment. Anyone? All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just have a couple things really quick. I just wanted to say that I think the executive board secretary position was a great idea. It's nice, some of these things that I had on my plate, I've been able to hand over to Chelsea, and she's taken them over graciously, and she's doing a great job with that. And it's nice to focus more on county clerk responsibilities rather than board secretary responsibilities. And I just want to say that I think that's working out great.
okay. Anybody else? Then we'll be adjourned until the next meeting.
Nice.